Hello everyone, you probably don't know me, but I've been creating possibly the most insane Sims 4 save over the past several years. I used to play the game in the classic way. Make myself, get married, have a family, play the second generation for a little bit until I get bored, and then stop playing for about 6 months and repeat. But then I found out about rotational gameplay and I've played consistently ever since I started. I've seen a bunch of Pleasant Sims videos back in the day when she still played The Sims 2, and I felt super inspired by it. So I played The Sims 2 and I loved it, but I missed a lot of the features from The Sims 4, especially the graphics and other things like being able to swap between worlds freely. I love. So I took the once-based rotational gameplay back to The Sims 4, but in Sims 2 style, I wanted to play with the townies. I do have a whole Tumblr dedicated to my save, but to be honest, I barely know how to format things in a nice way, and don't really care to learn. I figured a video would be a much better way to show all of this off. Okay, so I wanted to play rotationally. If you're a sane person, you pick a world or two and rotate between different households that live there. But I'm a healthy dose of insane and couldn't help myself from feeling bad about leaving out worlds and cool Sims. So naturally, I decided I wanted to play with every townie from every world. Every single one of them. On top of that, I could add in new worlds as expansions come out. How bad could that be? Oh my god. If you actually care about progressing through rotations quickly, you're gonna hate this playstyle. Like I said, I've played The Sims 4 for many years, but never once did I care about any of the townies, aside from who makes cute babies for my sim self to marry. It felt like a world full of people you all kind of know, but never really bothered to have a conversation with or get to know. But actually playing with all of them changed everything. The trade-off, though, is that now I have in-depth knowledge of 90% of the Sims that populate the entire save. Let me show you. Here we are at the club in Windenburg, and as you can see, there's a good amount of Sims here. I've given each of them a makeover since I've played with pretty much all of these Sims. Let's take a look at some of these familiar faces, like Don Lothario. Everyone knows him, but let me tell you what and who he's done in my save. At first, he had a relationship with Miko Ojo, but she got pregnant and had his twins, although they ended up breaking up not too much later, to be honest. He wasn't really around too much because he was chasing Nina Caliente. He had a baby with Nina as well, but he ended up cheating on her with her sister, Dina. This caused a huge rift between Nina and Dina. They fought a ton, as you'd probably guess. Way later, he did marry Dina and got her pregnant too, but continued with his, non-committal ways until he reconnected with Miko, asked her to be his girlfriend, and then his non-committal trait changed to loyal. Then he divorced Dina while she was pregnant with his kid again. Next, over here, we have Ivy Pizzazz. They're the child of Penny Pizzazz, who once had a hookup with Gavin Richards, decided to keep the baby when she got pregnant from it, and the thing is, though, she still lived in that tiny little one-bedroom apartment that she starts a fresh save in, and she didn't make a whole lot of money either, so she needed to find a way to make things work fast. She ended up meeting Malcolm Landgrab, they hit it off pretty quickly, rushed into a marriage, and was hoping that that would be a good spot for Ivy to grow up and with so much access to money and just like a lot of good things in general. However, Malcolm Landgrab is a terrible guy and treated them really poorly, especially Ivy. Ivy started getting in fights with people, making enemies left and right, and just getting into a lot of trouble in general. Eventually, Malcolm cheated on Penny with Nina Caliente as well, which left Penny back out on her own again. She quickly found a replacement partner and made a real connection this time with Diego Lobo. They finally had a good relationship and stable ground for Ivy to build upon, but their rocky past left Ivy troubled, and they still kind of are to this day. After they became an adult, they threatened Malcolm when he showed up at their door one day, and also went to go beat up their old principal, Mae Prescott, who had put them in detention as a teenager. Despite all of this, though, they're a romantic deep down and really looking for love, and who knows if they'll find it. I have hundreds of Sims who I could legit go on and on about all day long. I love telling their stories. Not all of them are as dramatic, but I could go on about them forever. Let me instead tell you a little bit about how I set up my gameplay and create a Sim to get here. Very little of my gameplay is planned and relies heavily on randomization. let's start with Create a Sim. Here with the Fires family, we have Dominic here. We'll play with genetics with him and Moira. We have this nice guy here. We'll make him an infant first, because that's when I first customized him after all. So we have this little guy here. We'll start with the hair. It's always where I begin. I always go and look at what kinds of hair textures that his parents have, because I keep that consistent across their whole life. So Moira, yeah, just what I thought. He has straight hair. I'm pretty sure Dominic has afro textured hair, but we'll check here and go in with, yeah, okay, just what I thought. So that means their kid can have either afro textured hair or straight hair. So I randomize between 1 or 2, 1 for afro textured hair, 2 for straight hair, and we'll see what this little guy gets when I randomize that, so then we can start looking at the options that we have there within that hair type category. Looks like he is afro textured hair, so we'll go back in here, click that little tab to see the options, and why are there only 2? I could have sworn I had more. I think maybe it's a custom content stuff. You have more afro textured hairs for infants, but they're just not tagged because I don't even know how many people use those tags, to be honest. That one has a little crease there, and we're just gonna move past that. I actually like this hair that he started with a lot. I think it's cute for him. So we'll go ahead and keep that. And next up, we go into the skin details. I always randomize between 1 and 100 to kind of help with a percent chance to have something like a unique skin detail, like a birthmark or something else. So I'll randomize between 1 and 100. If he scores 20 or below, he did not score under 20, but if he did, I would kind of randomize whether it's going to be something like a birthmark or something like vitiligo or heterochromia. But we'll just kind of give him the typical things that I give pretty much all of my infant sims. Kind of define their little noses a little bit with different kinds of overlays that I have, or any of these things, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on him in the infant stage. I always randomize the infant traits, and he is cautious, but that doesn't matter because we'll make him a teenager for now. Even though I do try to keep my teenagers looking like teenagers, but sometimes they're just going to look like adults. It's just the way the sims are. We'll clear away this kind of custom content skin details that they get randomly given when aging up, and we'll go... Sorry, I don't know. I was nervous I deleted his teeth somehow, but you can't really do that, I don't think. So we'll go ahead back into the skin details. I love Northern Siberia winds. Skin overlays, I use them on pretty much all of my sims. They're so nice. And I wanted to mess with his eyebrows a little bit too. I don't really mind kind of giving them different shaped eyebrows just on what suits their face. But this guy has really overly exaggerated brow shape, so I'll just tweak it a smidge to kind of help even it out just a little bit. Sometimes the sims just have overly exaggerated facial features that I don't like to change the big shape of them. They're still downturned, but these eyebrows suit him way better. So we will go back into these skin details, and this is also where I just kind of go and do whatever I think feels right. I really like to just emphasize the natural features that my sims have without really trying to change anything or go above and beyond in terms of like crafting a sim. I never really make a sim, I just kind of take what pops up and go with it. I do have some body presets that maybe I use if I'm really feeling like crafting a sim, but in my rotational gameplay, I just go in whatever I'm given, pretty much. I really like to define the noses because I feel like with these skin overlays, they don't really do a whole lot of that. So I'll go in and I'll add these features too, like that one kind of gave a little bit of eyeliner to him almost, without it being like eyelinery. Those eye bags do look nice on him too, they kind of help emphasize his eyes, but I just kind of go in. Sometimes I forget what all these little squares do because there's so many of them. Oh, those are nice too. Kind of a little winged effect that kind of brings more attention to his eyes by darkening them slightly. Sometimes I'll darken like the top lip a little bit, or I don't even always use every category that I can. I kind of like adding pores as well, just to give it a little tiny bit of realism in a way. A little, I don't know. It just adds something nice, I think. So I'll go back in, look at the Afro textured hair section, and look at all the options. I have way more for adults because there's just way more options for adults. And we'll just kind of mess around and see what looks good on him. He's honestly a pretty good looking sim in general when I look at him, and especially after adding the skin details, we can really better see what kind of hairs are gonna suit him more. Some of these aren't even really Afro textured, they're just kind of like really like wavy, but that's just an issue with the tagging system in general. I don't really live super religiously by it, because like we saw before, some hairs aren't even tagged for the appropriate thing. So it is what it is. But he pulls off a lot of these. Ooh, especially that. I do like that hair on him, but I kind of want to keep looking, just try on other ones. I haven't used that hair yet. It's really cool though. I don't think he suits longer hair very much. I think he's more of a short hair kind of guy. Oh, that one? How did I not see that before? That one's perfect for him, actually. I love that. So we'll go into the outfit now that I have his details and hair figured out. We'll randomize some of those traits, but we'll go in here to the color. I also randomize, I give every single one of my sims a favorite color. So I'm going off here to randomize between 1 and 11. That's how many color options there are. Just have that memorized now, and this guy's favorite color is gonna be yellow. He got number 11 out of 11, which is yellow. So then we'll take that and go to the fashion choices. I'll randomize between 1 and 10. There's technically only 9 there, but oh, he got rocker fashion. I leave the extra one because if we look in the tags here for the style, there it is. There's sports or sporty, and there is no sporty thing in the likes and dislikes, which is really weird. But he likes rocker clothes, so we'll go ahead and look at the options. So now it limits it to, these are all the kinds of clothing that he likes for shirts. So we'll kind of go in and, well, sometimes what I like to do is go in and tick the yellow color or whatever their favorite color is, just to kind of also help me see exactly what things have yellow splotches. Oh, he looks really good in that Brazil tank top. I love that on him. So we'll find the, why can't I find it? Oh, there it is. It's right there. I can't see. But here is the rocker pants. Find what fits the shirt that he has outlined already. His jeans are nice. Ooh. Oh yeah, that dark color is perfect. Okay. So then we'll go on to the shoes. Style rocker. We'll select, sometimes it's kind of hard to find shoes with rocker clothes. I feel like that fit. And sometimes like there's no rocker clothes or not much for like the formal category. So sometimes I have to take liberties, but when in doubt, these boots do a great job. So here he is. I think he's looking really great. I am already in love with this sim a lot. I kind of fall in love with every single sim that I have because I really enjoy this process of randomizing things for them. And I feel kind of bad I'm not going to play with him now. This is why I have so many sims. I feel bad for not playing with them when I get this attached. I didn't really go into his facial hair or maybe some other things that I would also like tweak, like with piercings or tattoos, but let's go ahead. Let's go to the, I have something for the loves outdoors trait. I can't find it. Oh, there it is. We'll have him pose for us for a minute, show off his little outfit. I also do make outfits for them for every single category, and I make them over every single time that they age up. So he may be a rocker now, but maybe he'd like to dress more preppy or wear streetwear or like other things as he gets older too. So that's also how they kind of change over time. But we'll give him a name, Adam, and I also randomize our aspirations. For teens, I often randomize whether they're getting a teen or an adult aspiration, but I'll just do any of them. And he's wanting a love aspiration, so we'll randomize between 1 and 10 for these options because I have a lot of modded aspirations. And he wants to have a woohoo variety, he wants to have woohoo in a lot of different locations. It's kind of funny because he's an unflirty sim, as you can see there, but that's gonna be his cross to bear, I guess. But yeah, here's Adam. I had a fun time making him. So for my gameplay, I do things kind of interestingly. I think it's not really that interesting anymore, considering there is a whole once overhaul a while ago. But for the very first week in game, with my very first household that I played, which was my sim self and my now fiance, we are kind of in this little world that I have. But I did let the MCC command center and in-game autonomy and story progression kinds of things take over and let the townies just do random things. That's how I ended up with the townies in situations I would not have seen coming. Like, Judith Ward married Katarina Lynx and filled their mansion with the cats that Katarina owns. Or there's the Markovic family. They adopted a ton of children and had another one, and they're all pretty much the exact same age. So they had a bunch of children all at once, then they all became teenagers, and now they're all young adults. And it was just a very crazy, chaotic household where unfortunately I couldn't really delve too much into each of them, but I tried to spread out the love depending on whatever was going on with each person. There is also Cassandra Goth. She became a teen mom. She ended up having a baby with Travis Goth. I did have teen pregnancies enabled, but I did not anticipate that the story progression would make an adult, or a young adult at least, the parent of a teen pregnancy as well, which was kind of, you know, not great. I had no control over it. I was considering deleting it, but I really liked the storyline of Cassandra being a teen mom. So I kind of went along with it, and she has her own whole story, including Travis, that is just a roller coaster. But I take these sims in these situations based on the story progression and begin to play with them from where they're at. I follow along with the various wants that they have, which was a lot easier after the once overhaul, but I also do still use mods to make it better and incorporate more possibilities. This helps me a lot with doing things outside my comfort zone or from repeating the same things over and over again. I treat the Sims like they are independent, autonomous people, and I'm just helping kind of facilitate them doing what they want, which oftentimes will be decisions that I really absolutely hate. I do have several Sims. I really hate the things that they've done and the way that they treat other people, but it makes for such a good storyline, and none of it is really planned too much by me, so I also don't really feel like I have to put in a lot of effort into facilitating gameplay that's fun and exciting. Sometimes I will re-roll once if I'm trying to see something specific. Like if someone's on a date, I'll re-roll a few times to see if they want to do anything romantically with that person. Like maybe they've achieved all the things for the date, for the in-game date social event. However, I'll see if they actually like want to ask them to be their boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, or if they want to propose, or if they want to break up, or whatever it is that they get. So sometimes though, I'll be on a date, I'll re-roll several times, and that sim won't have a single want to like do anything more with that person, which I'll just kind of take as them losing interest, that they don't really care too much. Sometimes too, people will be maybe in different households and one partner won't even get a single want the entire rotation, which I do week-long rotations. So they won't even get a single want the whole week to talk to or see or visit their romantic partner, and then I don't do it, and that kind of has its own implications. I also do have growing together, and I always accept the trait changes that are suggested to me, regardless of whatever it is. So if something pops up, it's like, hey, they've been feeling this way for a while, or because of this thing, they're starting to feel like they may want or have this trait, whether it's a trait change or a new trait being added. I always accept it because it's based on the situation. Unless it's a kind of like glitch kind of thing where there was something that shouldn't have happened in the first place that I'm cleaning up. But that is exactly how I got an interesting situation with Don Lothario, like I kind of mentioned before. Let me tell you a little bit more about that whole situation. This man, Don Lothario, has wreaked absolute havoc on my save file. He's had children with several women, including both of the Caliente sisters, and has woohooed with even more. He first had kids with Miko Ojo, and they had a pair of twins, a boy and a girl, that were named Haley and Heriberto Ojo, which I feel like I should have renamed them. I'm not a big fan of their names, but it feels a little too late now. They're both adults, so it just is what it is. They were kind of randomly named. Anyways, though, he started hooking up with Nina Caliente, and she accidentally got pregnant from him and decided to keep the baby. She had a girl named Amina. I really liked keeping the kind of naming convention that they have with Nina and Dina, so it's Nina, Dina, and Amina. And from there, she was kind of hoping that Don would stick around as like a dad kind of figure. She was pretty into him, even though they both kind of like to hook up with people. They were pretty casual, but then Don cheated on Nina with her sister Dina, which was really like crossed a hard barrier there. It was not a good time. Dina and Nina really blew up at each other, and it led to them not speaking, and they all moved away from each other. Don moved in with Dina, and they ended up getting married as adults, although Nina and Dina did not really repair their relationship before that point, really. However, even though that they were married, Don continued cheating on Dina, as you may expect. It's kind of what he does best, I guess. But as a part of his cheating escapades, he did reconnect with Miko, but he asked her to be his girlfriend on the side. But as those words left his mouth, he realized he really meant it, and his non-committal trait changed to loyal. He decided that he wanted to go and really commit to Miko, is what, at least what I interpreted from that trait change of he asked her to be his girlfriend and said, "I'm being loyal now." Kind of crazy though, because Dina had just found out she was also pregnant with his baby. So she had a whole meltdown and ended up kind of trying to reconnect with Nina and have just like a whole bunch of reconnecting moments with Nina and Katrina as well. Katrina, though, she had also hooked up with Don at some point. All of them have been involved with Don Lothario. It's kind of insane, to be honest. However, Nina had also been mad at Dina for a while, but their anger had faded because they had been mad at each other for so long that they didn't care anymore. They just wanted to be sisters again. Nina had also been pregnant with Don's child, but when he left her, she wasn't able to afford continuing to live on her own like Dina was. She was kind of in a similar position to Penny Pizzazz that I mentioned in Ivy's story, because she needed to find someone to kind of help her get by. Although the thing is, she also stumbled across Malcolm Landgrab, as you might expect. It seems like he has a kind of a thing for finding vulnerable women with children who need a place to stay, which is not really great though, because he's an evil sim. But I mean, I guess that's what an evil sim would do, isn't it? So after Nina's affair with Malcolm had kind of been found out, Malcolm ended up divorcing Penny and did actually marry Nina. And so she brought her children. I think she had another child by that point too with someone else. So she had 2 children now that she brought to live in the Landgrab mansion. Although their stories are also kind of messy because they had to grow up with Malcolm Landgrab just like Ivy did. And it's a whole situation where I could literally go on forever and ever about this. Everyone's stories are so connected, and they all have their kids and who are growing up and having their own stories, and I've been having the time of my life for years with this playstyle because everything is so complex and I just love it so much. I play with pretty much every single townie in the game, although I do try to limit it a little bit more now. Sometimes if I get a new world and there are sims I'm just not that interested in or something like that, I will just not play with them. However, I've kind of decided to stop my rotations, like adding on more worlds after this most recent expansion, Adventure Awaits. Well, I guess more so not after it, but before it. I'm not really that interested in Gibby Point, but I do really want to include fairies in my gameplay, so this felt like a good cutting off point. It makes it easy to stop somewhere, and I might just use Gibby Point for retreats or businesses or just more land for my pre-existing sims to live at, so it works out great for me. Anyways, let me know if anyone's interested in smaller videos updating on the lore from different townie families. There's way too much to cover in just one video, but I could talk about my save all day long. It's changing and evolving constantly, and that's why I love it so much. I get to play in all the worlds and experience all the packs this way too. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and comment below some of your favorite townies. Maybe I'll make a video to let you know what they've gotten up to over here. But yeah, thank you for watching. This is my first ever real video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye-bye.